The Switch has this weird power. You pick it up for just one more run, and suddenly, it's 1 a.m. These 25 games are the reason. From card games that rewire your brain to RPGs you sink 80 hours into without blinking. Let's count them down, starting at number 15. You wake up in a dark cabin. Across the table sits a shadowy figure named Leshy, eyes glowing, voice low, and he wants to play cards. Inscryption starts as a deck-building roguelike where you build a hand of woodland creatures, sacrificing weaker ones to summon stronger fighters, trying to tip a scale in your favor before your opponent does. The rules feel simple at first: attack, defend, manage your resources. But new mechanics get layered in constantly, keeping you on your toes every single run. Between card battles, you can actually stand up and walk around the cabin, solving escape room-style puzzles that unlock new cards and secret tricks. You'll pull your own teeth to use as currency, you'll find clues on the walls, and just when you feel like you've got a handle on things, Inscryption completely changes the game, literally. The story goes places that are genuinely hard to describe without spoiling, and that mystery is half the pull. Picture Breakout, but you're firing magic balls at hordes of monsters crawling down a screen toward you. And every run, you get to stack crazy power-ups until the whole screen is chaos. That's Ball Pit in a sentence. The backstory is that the ancient city of Balbilon was destroyed by a mysterious meteor, leaving behind a massive pit full of creatures and treasure. You pick one of several characters, each plays completely differently, and dive in. As you kill enemies, they drop XP crystals, and leveling up lets you pick new ball types. Fireballs, poison balls, freeze balls, time freeze balls. You collect and fuse them into hybrid powerhouses. Fusing a burn ball with a freeze ball gives you something that both damages and stuns. Between runs, you head back to the surface and build a town, using wood, stone, and gold to construct over 70 buildings that give you permanent stat boosts and unlock new characters. This is a game that one person made. Solo dev Tom of Valorware built an open-world RPG packed with over 270 monsters, 1,400 items, 300 weapons, crafting, fishing, cooking, a full card game within the game, and co-op support. It punches so far above its price point, it's kind of embarrassing. You play as a customizable hero sent into the lands of Sedeltia to deal with a corrupt king and a growing dark threat. The world is huge, the dungeons are deep, and you can lose yourself in side quests for hours before even touching the main story. Combat is done by aiming the right stick. It's twin-stick style brawling across 2D environments, and your character grows through usage-based skills rather than assigned stat points. Want to get better at cooking? Cook more. Want to master archery? Just keep shooting. You can also recruit monsters to fight alongside you, building a personal army of creatures you've captured. Celeste is a precision platformer, where you play as Madeline, a young woman who decides to climb Celeste Mountain. The mountain is brutal spikes everywhere, crumbling platforms, winds that throw you off course, and you will die hundreds of times. But here's the thing, each death takes about 1 second to recover from. You respawn instantly, you try again, and slowly the muscle memory builds. Madeline has a dash ability, one mid-air dash that you use to navigate through impossible-looking gaps. The game layers more movement mechanics on top of that over time, but the core always stays tight. It never feels unfair. When you fail, you know exactly why. And when you finally clear a brutal room, the satisfaction is real. The mountain also acts as a metaphor for something much more personal the story is quietly about: mental health, anxiety, and self-acceptance, told without being preachy. You get on a plane, fly to a deserted island, and slowly build it into whatever you want. That's Animal Crossing. There's no winning, no losing, no urgent threat. You wake up, shake some trees, dig up fossils, talk to your animal neighbors, catch bugs and fish, redecorate your house, terraform the terrain, and the whole thing runs on real time, meaning the game's day actually matches your day. Flowers bloom in the morning, shops close at night, seasonal events happen when those seasons actually happen in real life. The loop sounds simple, but it creates this constant, gentle pull. There's always something new to check on, something to craft, a villager who wants a chat, a new item in the store. The customization goes surprisingly deep. You can redesign entire island layouts, pattern your own clothes, build custom paths, move buildings. The game got a massive free update in 2021 that added even more content. At its core, Balatro is poker. You're dealt cards, you build hands pairs, flushes, straights, and each hand scores points based on its type and the individual cards in it. The goal is to hit a point target before you run out of hands to play. Simple enough. But then, the jokers show up. Jokers are modifier cards that twist the rules in wild ways. One might multiply your score every time you play a heart card. Another triggers if your hand has exactly 4 cards. Another turns all your clubs into wild cards. You stack jokers, combine their effects, and suddenly what started as a normal poker hand is generating millions of points through cascading multipliers that spiral out of control in the most satisfying way. Each run, you pass through an ante-system, buying new cards at shops between rounds, upgrading your deck, and chasing overpowered combinations. When a build clicks when you finally understand how 2 jokers interact and your score explodes, it feels electric. Vampire Survivors. You are one character. Enemies spawn from the edges of the screen and come at you endlessly. You don't control your weapons, they fire automatically. All you control is movement. And for the first few minutes, Vampire Survivors seems almost too simple. Then 20 minutes pass, and you look at the screen and there are 5,000 enemies exploding simultaneously, while you're covered in rotating axes, lightning bolts, and bouncing projectiles. Every few minutes, you level up and choose a new weapon or passive item, and over time, these items evolve and stack into ridiculous combinations. The loop is completely hands-off, in the best way, pure meditative chaos that somehow demands your full attention. There's a loose horror setting with different characters and maps, but the real game is the builds. Trying new weapons, finding evolutions, unlocking characters with different starting abilities. It keeps you going for dozens of hours. This is the gold standard of kart racers, and it still holds up completely. 48 tracks across multiple cups, a full battle mode, and racing mechanics that feel great at every skill level. You pick a character, pick a kart build, choosing between weight, speed, handling, and acceleration stats, and race. The items are what make it chaotic and fun. Blue shells, star power, bullet bills. The gap between first and last place shifts constantly. The physics on the drifting system reward players who learn it. Holding a drift longer builds up a boost that can carry you through corners fast. But even someone who never drifts can pick it up and have a blast. Online play is solid. Local multiplayer with up to 4 players on one screen is an absolute party classic. And the 200 cubic centimeters mode exists for people who want pure, high-speed insanity. Dozens of unlockable kart parts give you endless combinations to experiment with. Slay the Spire. 3 characters, a randomized tower full of enemies, and a deck of cards that's yours to build from scratch on every run. Slay the Spire is a deck-building roguelike where every decision matters. You start with a small starter deck, and as you beat enemies and clear rooms, you get offered new cards to add. The map shows branching paths. Do you take the risky elite enemy room that offers better rewards, or play it safe with a regular fight? Do you stop at a shop and buy a relic that changes how your deck works, or save the gold? The 3 characters each have completely different card sets and playstyles. The Ironclad leans into brute force and self-sustain. The Silent focuses on poison and traps. The Defect uses orbs and electric energy. Building a deck that synergizes, where your cards combo together into something unexpected, is the whole game. When it works, you feel like a genius. When it doesn't, you figure out why and try again. The original Hollow Knight was already one of the best games on Switch. A massive, hand-drawn insect world full of secrets, brutal combat, and a story you pieced together yourself. Silksong is the full sequel. You play as Hornet, the fast and aggressive fighter from the first game, now exploring an entirely new kingdom called Farloom. Hornet moves differently from the Knight. She's quicker, more acrobatic, and her combat tools are built around needles and thread, rather than the slow, heavier sword of the first game. The world is a new, interconnected Metroidvania, full of locked areas, hidden paths, and upgrades that open new routes as you find them. Enemies are more aggressive, bosses are intense, and the sense of discovery, that feeling of finding a room you weren't supposed to find yet, is exactly what made the first game special. Dave the Diver. Half of this game is an underwater action adventure where you dive into the blue hole, a mysterious ocean zone, collecting fish and ingredients while navigating sea creatures that want you dead. The other half is running a sushi restaurant at night, using everything you caught during the day. That combination sounds random, but it works incredibly well. Dave is a chubby, lovable diver who gets pulled into increasingly wild situations. Ancient civilizations, sea people, tech conspiracies, and the story just keeps escalating in ways you genuinely don't expect. The diving sections have you managing oxygen, weapons, and inventory while exploring deeper and deeper zones that change daily. At the restaurant, you manage staff, menus, and customer demand in a simple but satisfying management sim. Between all of this, there are side quests, farming, cooking upgrades, and a surprising number of mini-games. Hades 2. The original Hades was already one of the best roguelikes ever made. Hades 2 is bigger. You play as Melinoe, daughter of Hades, trying to fight your way up through the underworld and down to reach Kronos, the Titan of Time who has done something terrible to her family. The combat is fast and aggressive, built around a weapon you choose at the start of each run, boons from Olympian gods that modify your attacks, and special abilities that you stack and combine across the run. Each god gives a different flavor. Poseidon pushes enemies around. Aphrodite makes them weaker. Zeus chains lightning between targets. And mixing different god boons together creates builds that feel completely different every run. Melinoe has access to both a surface world and the deeper underworld, giving the game two full environments with distinct enemies and challenges. Absolum. From the team behind Streets of Rage 4 and TMNT Shredder's Revenge comes a beat-em-up fused with roguelite DNA. In the world of Talum, a power-hungry ruler called Sun King Azra has enslaved the wizard class and taken over the land. You pick from up to 4 characters, an elven fighter, a dwarven gunslinger, a quick rogue, and a frog mage, and fight your way through handcrafted levels toward his tower. The brawling feels incredible. Attacks are fast and weighty, combos flow naturally, and timing a dodge correctly sends enemies flying. Roguelite elements come in through rituals, elemental runes that modify your abilities per run, and a hub area called the Hearth, where you spend gemstones on permanent upgrades between attempts. The levels themselves aren't randomly generated, they're hand-built, but they shift and remix on each run, with new enemy placements, paths, and encounters.
From time to time, as you become more and more powerful, you will have the resources and abilities to face the challenges that stand in your path.
Cuphead. This is one of the most visually striking games ever made. A full 1930s hand-drawn animation style that looks like it came straight off a film reel. But behind the art is one of the hardest boss rush games around. Cuphead and his brother Mugman made a deal with the devil and lost. And now they have to hunt down other souls who owe the devil debts before their own are collected. Almost the entire game is boss fights. You run through short platforming stages to reach a boss, and then you fight that boss through multiple phases, each one throwing new patterns at you. Parrying pink projectiles charges your special meter, and is also essential to some fights. Learning each boss is a process. You die, you notice a pattern, you die again, you adjust, and eventually something clicks. The satisfaction of clearing a boss you've been stuck on for 20 minutes is enormous. Stardew Valley. One person made this, solo, from scratch, and it became one of the most beloved games of the generation. You inherit your grandfather's farm in a small town called Pelican Town, and you move there to escape the corporate grind. What unfolds is an open-ended farming sim where you plant crops, raise animals, fish, mine, fight in caves, build relationships with the 30-plus townspeople, and slowly restore the valley to its former charm. The game never tells you what to do. You wake up every morning with energy, and you decide how to spend it. Some days you farm, some days you go deep into the mines. Some days, you just talk to everyone in town and bring them gifts. Each character has a full storyline, cutscenes, and personality. The community center gives you long-term goals that require crafting and gathering from every part of the game. Seasons change every 28 days, bringing new crops, new events, and new things to discover. That's the list. 15 games built to steal your time and make you love every second of it. Drop a comment on what you're playing right now or which one you think should have ranked higher. Subscribe if you want more Switch content. See you in the next one.